Anime begins with the discovery of a new type of disease among young people, internet addiction. The elite Reeducation Academy was established to help young people grow upright and save them from this disease. Hibiki, a young boy, is playing a video game when he is suddenly knocked out. He hears a voice telling him to wake up. He ends up in an empty room with a few other boys. First, he believes he has awoken in a game world via time travel. He asks the boy standing nearby about the game, but he slaps him. After some time, a lady arrives with some men and informs Hibiki that he is enrolled in the elite Reeducation Academy. She introduces herself as Jean, the academy's principal. The students at the academy are forced to run all day, and when one of them requests a break, the instructor punishes him by locking him up for 3 days. Shion, the head instructor, also beats a boy. He asks Hibiki and 3 other boys to always obey Jean and him. He takes their attendance and informs Hibiki that he is quarantined at his mother's request until he reaches the age of 18. He is not allowed to meet with anyone or go outside. Shion beats Hibiko for looking at Jian, and he realizes that no matter how he responds, he will be beaten. All of the students are tortured in various ways, and Hibiki begins to consider fleeing. He believes that if he stays, he will be killed. He considers suicide after feeling helpless. Shion asks some men to find Hibiki after he goes missing. Hibiki is about to jump from a building when he is approached by a mysterious boy. He asks Hibiki to jump when Shion passes by, aiming at him. He says it is a shame for him to die without taking Shion with him, who has beaten him. He urges Hibiki to tell the world about the illegal activities of the academy and set all the students free. Hibiki tells the boy that he no longer wishes to end his life. The boy requests that Hibiki sell his life to him so that he can give it meaning. He promises to make him a real person. Hibiki is slapped by the boy after asking if he is a boy or a girl. He then hands him binoculars and instructs him to observe the field and select a girl of his choosing. He claims he will grant his wish if he chooses a girl. Hibiki notices Shiori, his middle school classmate, and chooses her. Shiori is not an internet addict, he says, and she will never say yes to him. He is taken aback that the boy knows his name. The boy informs Hibiki that he is now his master and that his name is Shin. Shion chastises his men for failing to locate Hibiki. He asks them to find him again, and Shin arrives with Hibiki. He tells Shion that Hibiki was looking for a bathroom. Shion warns Shin that if he covers for Hibiki, he will be considered complicit. Shin reveals that he is Hibiki's master, and Shion requests that he help him adjust to the school environment. Hibiki laughs as he is surprised by Shin's behavior towards Shion. Shion goes to the head office and tells Jean about Hibiki. Another person in the office informs Shion that a student may cause him problems. Shin and Hibiki go to the student field, and Shin talks to another student named Wudo. He says something in his ear and asks Hibiki to see what happens. Wudo catches a girl and tries to suppress her. He searches her body and takes out a mobile phone in front of everyone. She begs Wudo to return her phone, saying that she cannot survive without it. Wudo says it is his authority as a discipline officer. He tears off the girl's clothes in front of the whole school, while Shiori comes there. She puts a knife on Wudo's throat and asks him to leave the girl. It is revealed that Shiori is the student council president. She asks Wudo to let the girl go, but he refuses. Another student from Wudo's side throws a stone at Shiori, but Hibiki, who is watching all this, saves Shiori, and the stone hits his face. An instructor comes there and asks everyone to go to their classes. Shiori covers the girl's body and asks Hibiki to pick up the stone from the ground. She recognizes Hibiki but says nothing and leaves with the girl. The man in the head office, named Hio, asks the instructor, Shion, to give full attention to Hibiki. Shiori gives first aid to Hibiki, who is attracted to her beauty. He asks her if she remembers him, and to see him staring at her, she gets angry. Shiori then asks the girl to trade with her in exchange for saving her. The girl begs Shiori to return her phone because she cannot live without talking to her boyfriend. Shiori demands she smuggle another mobile phone, as she did before, through a strict inspection. She also promises that she will teach her how to use a knife to protect herself. She also says that she can commit suicide if nobody comes to save her while she is being bullied. The girl refuses to do so, and Shiori tells her not to hope for help from her the next time. Hibiki asks Shiori why her cold behavior is because she used to be kind and nice at school. Shiori threatens him with her knife and asks him to disappear. Shin comes there with the girl's mobile and asks her and Shiori to make Hibiki a man if they both want to get the mobile. He also knows everything about the girl who has agreed with his condition. He reveals her identity and how she came to school. Shiori forces the girl to leave the place. Shin demands Shiori make Hibiki a man in exchange for the mobile phone, and he leaves both of them alone in the room. Hibiki thinks for some time and tells Shiori that she need not worry because he will never take advantage of her. Shiori, on the other hand, says nothing and tries to act upon Shin's demand. Before they start, Shiori starts vomiting and becomes irritated. She again tries to kiss him, but they both start vomiting. Hibiki asks her not to force herself anymore because he does not want her to suffer. Shin, who is waiting for them outside of the room, checks the mobile and thinks that the girl is not simple. Hibiki tries to ask Shiori about herself, but she says she does not want to talk about it. She asks him to continue because she really needs a cell phone. Hibiki says he does not want to hurt her and will help her get the cell phone and escape from school. They try to get some proof, and Hibiki asks Shiori to leave. Shiori tells Hibiki that she does not dislike him because he is soft-hearted and she will cut the person down who bullies him. Shiori leaves after getting the cell phone from Shin. Hibiki succeeds in tricking Shin by showing him fake proof and advising him not to use girls' bodies as an article of trade. Shin threatens and bullies him, and he asks him to call him master next time. Hibiki tells Shin that he is not his dog because he only promised him not to attempt suicide. He leaves, saying that he has nothing to do with him. He thinks he will do anything for Shiori and they will escape the school one day. He is surrounded and bullied by some students, and he thinks it is hard to save himself. Hibiki reaches his room, where his roommates welcome him. The dorm head Bin says to Hibiki that he can call him Big Brother. His other roommates Kyo, Rai, and To introduce themselves to him. They take a picture together and they send Hibiki to get their meal. Hibiki does not know how or from where he can get a meal. Shin asks Hibiki to call him master if he wants to get his favorite meal, but he refuses. He reaches his room and his roommates ask why he has brought a free meal for them. They ask him to eat their meal, and after this, they demand their meal. They say he is Shin's underling and can bring food of his choice, but Hibiki says he has nothing to do with Shin. They say they welcomed him, thinking that he was Shin's underling. They rush toward Hibiki, but he pushes them away. Hibiki realizes that they are all weak and have put on makeup to look strong. They tell him that they have been eating little food and want to eat their fill. Hibiki goes to Bin to ask him not to exploit his roommates. He sees Bin playing a video game. Shiori was checking her cell phone when the same girl asked her to return it. Shiori does not listen to her and goes from there. Hibiki asks Bin why he is exploiting the students. Bin threatens him and asks him not to come in his way of becoming rich. He asks him to join his class and he runs to his class. Shion is their instructor, who is very strict and bullies the students. He tells them the rules of class and says that his orders are absolute. He says that they all have to follow his orders. He asks them to run a 1500-meter race to warm them up. After running a race, all the students are instructed to stand still for 1 hour and do different exercises. Shin is observing all the students from the roof. Hibiki's roommates fall down due to tiredness and weakness because they are hungry, but Shion beats them and forces them to stand still. Hibiki is also dead tired and frightened. He asks Shion not to beat them because they missed their lunch. Shion punches Hibiki in the face. While Shiori is watching them, suddenly Hibiki punches Shion when he is beating him and his nose starts bleeding. Hibiki gets frightened to see this and apologizes to Shion, saying that he did not do this purposely. Hibiki tells him that he is wrong and he cannot beat him like this. He also says that there is nothing scientific in the school and they will be responsible if anyone dies there. Shion calls him Shin's dog, but he says he has nothing to do with him. He threatens Shion with reporting to the police if he beats him again. Shion gets angry and starts beating him. Hibiki refuses to obey Shion and asks other students to speak in his support, but they all say they will follow the rules of school. Shion throws Hibiki to the ground and asks him to admit his mistake. Shiori reaches there, and Hibiki thinks she has come to rescue him, but she kicks him in the face. She beats him and forces him to apologize to Shion. She takes on his responsibility and asks Shion to give him a chance. Hibiki asks Shiori why she is doing this, and she says he is stupid and thinking of being a hero. She asks him to apologize, but Hibiki refuses, saying that he likes to die rather than live here. He stands again before Shion and claims that he is right. Shiori slaps him, and he pushes her when the cell phone from Shiori's pocket falls on the ground. Everybody is shocked to see this. Hibiki and Shiori are captured, and Shion asks Shiori's classmates to teach her a lesson for what she has done. They all slapped her one by one on Shion's order. Hibiki's roommates are also being beaten, and Hibiki begs Shion to stop. After his apology, Shion asks the students to stop beating them. Hibiki's roommates are angry at him, and one of them spits on his face, asking not to drag them in all this. Shion orders all of them to return to their classes. Shiori is slapped by the girl whose cell phone she has taken. Wudo also comes there and makes fun of her. The rain starts and Hibiki cries and says sorry to Shiori because he has done all this to her. Shiori leaves him after asking him not to talk to her again. Shin comes there and Hibiki begs him to make him his dog. Shin agrees to give him a chance and tells him that he has 3 conditions. After hearing the 3 conditions, Hibiki asks Shin who he is and what he wants. Shin asks him to fulfill his condition if he wants to know about him. Jean calls Shion to her office and discusses the situation with him. Some students are urging Hibiko's roommates to beat Hibiko to take revenge on him. Hibiko enters the room and tells everyone that he is the leader of Class 4. Everyone starts laughing, but when he shows them the different kinds of dishes he has, they are surprised. Hibiki offers them a meal in exchange for making him their leader. They all agree, and Hibiki asks them to gather all the students from class 4. He goes to Wudo and beats him, saying that the school is his from now on. He challenges him to fight a duel and runs from there. Wudo chases him with other students. Hibiki thinks of Shin's techniques while running to defeat Wudo. He hides in a narrow alley, and when a student reaches there, he hits him with his jacket with bricks in it. He hits a few of them and runs from there. Wudo is shocked to see his fellows and wonders how Hibiki can do this. He asks other students to trap Hibiki, and they run toward him. They try to attack him, but he dodges all of them. Wudo and his fellows try to catch Hibiki, but they all slip and fall. Wudo chases him and they enter a room where Bin is counting the time. He tells them that the curfew is until 9 p.m. Wudo's other fellows remain outside of the room, and Bin locks the door. Wudo rushes toward Hibiko to beat him, thinking that he is alone, but some students come there and start beating Wudo. Hibiki feels the situation is funny and thinks that he will take revenge on the person who bullied him. Shin is standing in a room thinking that everything's going according to his plan. Another trainer asks Shion if he has confiscated a student's mobile. Hibiki takes Wudo to Shion and tells him that he found many smuggled cell phones in Wudo's room. He also accepts the responsibility of fighting with him and surrenders before Shion, who gets angry at Wudo. He slaps Wudo and beats him well. He also encourages Hibiki and appreciates him for the first time. Shion goes to the head office where Jin is talking to the parents of a boy. After their departure, Jin asks Shion about his student and attacks him when he apologizes. She beats him while Ryo is watching all this from outside the door and is happy to see him. Instructor Ryo meets Wudo in jail, who begs him to forgive him. He tells Ryo that Jun was smuggling a cell phone and Shin stole it and gave it to Shoiri, from whom it was confiscated by Shion. Ryo realizes that Shin is the cause of all this trouble. He asks two boys to beat Wudo well. He thinks Shion always pretends to be hard, but this is not the reality. Hibiki tells Shin how he trapped Wudo in front of Shion. He asks him how he came to know Wudo had cell phones. Shin says he will know after spending some time at the school. He also takes him to his room and asks him to live with him. Hibiki is surprised to see Shin's room. Hibiki asks Shin who he is, and he says he is his master. Shin gives him a drink and tells him that he wants to celebrate Wudo's defeat. He says he will teach him school rules and tells him that their next target is class 6. He says that if the instructors were not helping the students, then how could they get so many cell phones? He says Hibiki should have found every student with a hidden cell phone and reported it to Shion. He can earn Shion's trust in this way. Hibiki claims that he smuggled a cell phone yesterday for Shiori, and Shin tells him that he is still trash for her. He encourages him, saying that he can rise up from the trash. Shiori is attacked by two sisters, Akane and Hoku, and fights with them. Hibiki recalls Shin saying that it will be harder for him to deal with Yo than Wudo. Hibiki asks his fellows to fight with Yo, but they say they do not want to fight. Hibiki tries to pursue them, saying that they can control the school by winning Shion's trust. One of them asks Hibiki not to do anything, otherwise he will be kicked out of school. Hibiki gets angry and leaves the room. Shin is trying to input a password on the cell phone when instructor Ryo comes there. Akane and Hoku are fighting with Shiori. Akane says they wanted to test Shiori. She tells Shiori that they lead class 18 and want to unite 3 girls' classes. They offer her to join them in their work, but she says she does not want to do so. Instructor Ryo beats Shin and asks him about Jun's cell phone. Before Shin can say anything, his bodyguard comes and attacks Ryo. Shin tells Ryo that he does not have the cell phone because Hibiki has taken it from him. Hibiki is surrounded by some students who want to beat him. Before they can do anything, he starts hitting himself, much to their surprise. Akane shows Shiori a lot of cell phones hidden in her dress. She tells Shiori that she can use these mobile phones and talk to her brother after joining them. Shiori asks her how she knows about her brother, and Akane says she hacked the school data and learned about her family. She claims she knows all about her, that her brother is in the hospital and her parents died. Shiori asks Akane to give her a cell phone first, and then she will join them. She claims that she can tell the locations of all the cell phones used in the school, and they all gather at one place at night. Shiori asks Akane if she knows the exact location of all the cell phones, and she claims she knows. Hibiki throws tomato ketchup in his dress to pretend that he is injured. He acts after seeing that Shion is coming. Shion asks the students what they are doing there. He beats all of them and tells them that they will not get the meal for 3 days. After Shion's departure, Hibiki says to the students that they are suffering due to others' faults. He offers them dinner if they will help him. Shiori agrees with Akane and Haku to steal a cell phone. The students tell Hibiki that there is an instructor who is worse than Shine. They are talking when Shiori comes there with Akane and Haku. Akane gets mad at Hibiki after seeing him and rushes toward him. Haku asks Hibiki if he has a cell phone. Wudo is smuggling. She threatens him and asks him to hand over the cell phones to her. All the students make fun of the three girls. Akane asks Hibiki to join their group. Other students are about to attack them, but Haku beats all of them. Shiori also punches one of them, and Hibiki tells her that she will not be teased anymore. He tells her that he got a cell phone for her, and she demands the cell phone. Meanwhile, Shin comes there and says they should not tease a dog until they know his master. Shiori is also angry at Shin and says that the cell phone he gave her did not have signals. Shin says she needs a password to use the internet. He asks them to join him, otherwise they will suffer like Wudo. Haku attacks Shin and Hibiki, and Shin asks Hibiki to run from there. They run from there, and Haku chases them with Akane and Shiori. They hide in the boys' bathroom, and when Shiori, Haku, and Akane enter there, they throw water on them and force them to leave. They start beating them, while Hibiki comes there and stops the boys. Shin tells them that Yo is the leader of Class 6. He asks Hibiki to take naked pictures of Shiori and Haku. He says he will leak those pictures if the girls defy him again. He says he knows Hibiki did not do anything with Shiori. He asks Hibiki to take pictures, otherwise he will be his enemy. Hibiki picks up the cell phone thinking, what should he do now? Moku-chan, who once tried to escape by digging a tunnel, is in the canteen to take his mess. Other students make fun of him and tease him. He's sitting outside and thinking about his past when Shion comes there and asks why he's sitting outside. Moku tells him his problem, but he beats him and says he hates the people who run from their problem. Moku says he doesn't want to run, but they will kill him. Hibiki agrees to take pictures but asks Shin to promise him that he will not hurt the girls. He then tries to undress Shiori and demands that Shin release her. He hits Shin and his fellows and asks Shiori and Akane to run. Akane succeeds in running, but Shiori is captured again. Meanwhile, Bin and Ryo come there, and Hibiki tells him about Shin, but Ryo doesn't believe him. He says he heard a complaint against Hibiki because he caused trouble for everyone. Now Hibiki realizes that Shin has trapped him. Ryo gives Hibiki punishment for living alone in solitude, and for Shiori, Akane, and Hoku for 1 month of bathroom cleaning. Hibiki remembers Shiori saying to stay away from her because she never wants to see him again. He remembers his past when he didn't play well, and his instructor warned him and he threw him away from the team. He also tried to do his best, but he could not. His mother knocked on the door and asked him to come out to explain himself. Hibiki wakes up and says the world is full of violence. His family, friends, and teachers are all crap. He says he will become a new personality today, and he has only one goal. Shin is sitting, sees instructor Ryo come there, and asks what brings him there. Then the scene from 7 years ago is shown, where a person is shot with a bullet and Shion says he will be killed. Shion is a very cowardly person and is very afraid. The other person says that he has to handle the rest of their mission because he is a police officer. They split up, and at night, Shion finds his fellow's dead body. He is crying when he wakes up from his dream. He goes to the hospital, but his fellow's wife doesn't accept his apologies. He thinks his fellow died because of him, so he goes to Gon, his nephew, who is playing games. Shion scolds him about how he can play games when his mother is in the hospital, in a serious condition. Gon suddenly yells at him and says they are suffering because of him, and he's calling him a hero. He also hates his father and says that police officers never make much money. Gon faints and falls, and Shion asks someone to call an ambulance. Shion talks with the chief and says he will do everything for Kai's sake. The chief tells him that they have arranged funds for Kai's family. He reached out in a hotel room to Kai's daughter Jean, who is with a man. Shion asks her what she's doing there, and she says her father has gone away and she is free to live her life. The man starts crying and asks her to give him his medicine. Shion tries to help the man, but she throws the medicines out of the room and the man dies. And Shion asks Jean why he did not save him if he's her husband. He also asks her if she is after the inheritance of a man. Jean beats Shion and blames him. She also says her father could not pay her fees, and that's why she dropped out of school. Her father could not do anything when her mother was in the hospital. Shion asks Jean to torment him more because he could not save her father. He was afraid and he didn't want to die there. Shion says he could not sleep at night because Kai's dead face came before him. He asks Jean to torment him more because it lessens his guilt. She asks him to come to school with her if he wants to repent for his life. Shion is standing, and another instructor asks him to look at Shin and Hibiki. Those two were throwing the school into chaos. Shion looks at Hibiki, who is practicing, and Shion is happy to see him. Shiori, Akane, and Hoku are cleaning the bathroom and talking with each other. Akane doesn't want to clean the bathroom and is crying, but Shiori says it's better to clean it than take naked pictures. An instructor tells Hibiki to come out because his punishment is over. He came out and looked completely different. He made a painting on the wall, and the instructor was shocked to see the painting. Akane tells Shiori and Hoku that she's going outside for an investigation. Shiori stops her, but she goes away. Some guys are chasing her, and she is running. Akane collides with Moku and tells him to resist them, but he says resistance cannot change anything. Then Hibiki reached there, and he fought with all of them. They run from there, saying that he is so crazy today. Akane thanked Hibiki for saving him. Akane takes Hibiki to a place to go, and she starts searching for bandages. She tells him there's no place to go, and she's happy that he saved her. Then Shiori and Hoku come there, and Hibiki says he will not run from there. Gian, the daughter of Kai, is standing, and Instructor Ryo comes, and they talk with each other. Instructor Shion is practicing the class, and Hibiki stands up and says he feels his classmates are his brothers, and wants a chance. Everyone is looking at Hibiki, and the instructor is very much influenced by Hibiki. The instructor wishes him the best of luck, and says he believes in him. They are talking, and after some time, some students of class 18, with their instructor, come there and say they are training to extend a hand of friendship to all classes. The instructor tells his students he has been training in Kung Fu and self-defense. They ask them to fight with the girls, and the girls laugh that they may be afraid to lose to them. Fight, the girls win because they beat all the boys very badly. The instructor rebukes all the useless fools. Hoku is also among the winners. Hibiki says he will try this, and the instructor will allow him to fight. Hoku is looking at him and remembering the past. Hibiki asks her if he cannot do well, but he will not lose the match. And then they start the fight. She's very strong for him, and everyone is talking about her. Hibiki thinks that he had to hold her for so long. He's just dodging her attacks. When she gets tired, Hibiki suddenly attacks and holds her, and she accepts that she loses. The instructor says he's a tricky bastard. Everyone is happy, and Akane is also impressed by him. The instructor of class 18 is very angry and can't decide how to behave. Hibiki's class cheers up. Then another instructor comes there with his class. Hibiki thinks that there may be a conflict between the instructors of classes. Instructor Ryo talks with Gaen, who gives him a mission to fight with Shion if he wants her. Hibiki thinks he has gained the heart of Shion and doesn't want to lose it. He comes forward and says everyone in the class is a newcomer, but he believes that he has much more dedication than anyone else there. Hibiki says he doesn't know how to fight in hand-to-hand combat. He even doesn't know Kung Fu, but he challenges Yo to compete in standing at attention. Everyone is shocked, and the instructor says he has no objection. The instructor tells both of them the rules, and they head forward toward each other. The instructor tells Hibiki from class 4 and Yo from class 6 that they are in the athletic field. The instructor warns them that if any of them move first, he will lose the match. The match started, and they stood there for 3 hours. Everyone gets tired, and the sun is in full bloom. The instructor, Ryo, thinks if Yo loses, then he will be defeated. The instructors ended their match with a draw. They both sit down and are greatly exhausted, and the instructor tells Hibiki to go back. Moku takes him to the room. On the way, Moku appreciates him and says he's looking at him during the match. Hibiki says he is a long-distance runner. If he lost stamina, then he would be hopeless. Hibiki says Yo is not only good at fighting, but also good at endurance. But this is not the end, so he sends Moku to bring water. Moku brings water, and Senpai comes there, but Hibiki feels the cold water on him. He starts freezing, and Hibiki tells him his endurance has reached its limit, and now he cannot stand, and then punches him. Hime is talking with some students, and says that an ordinary Hibiki pissed Yo off. One of them is saying that now you will take care of him, but then they saw that you were lying down there. One of them caught Hibiki and told others to help him. They are going to attack, but Moku comes there and hits them. They call him a dog, but he starts beating them and says he's stalked with them. He's not a dog, he was bullied by them. Hibiki says he is giving them a chance. Hibiki attacks Yo. Some people are standing at the grave of Yui, the mistress of a famous man. After some time, everyone else goes away, and Shin is talking with his elder brother. Hibiki beats Yo by saying that if anyone stands and mocks before him, then he will not leave them. Hibiki is having a nightmare in which he is running, and Shiori gives him a stick. He is far ahead of everyone, and when the race ends, he says that everyone is fit there because of him. He's weeping, and Shiori comes to her and asks him to go back to class. Then another boy comes there. When Hibiki wakes up, everyone is there, and they apologize for not behaving well with him. He thinks about the sudden change in their behavior and remembers that they say they're on your side. None of them don't talk about Shin. He says he will accept them as his family, but he still hits them if anyone mocks Moku. He says he will find Shin, no matter if he hides himself anywhere in the world. Shin's elder brother is sitting in the car, and they are talking about some topic. His brother is talking with someone about him and says he asked permission from his father to let him enter that school. He also says he doesn't want bad things to happen to his brother. The other person says he will handle this. Akane and Shiori take the mobile phone of a boy, and Shiori says they will send him to the hospital so he can join Yo. The instructor is beating Shion because of Shin. He says he cannot manage class, and Shin throws him to the ground. Gian, the headmistress, comes there and stops the instructor from doing so because conflict between students is a very common thing. Instructor Ryo is very happy, and says Gian's presence could not save Xian. Gian says he's the one who wants Shin in this school, and they look after him as he wants. Then Akane, Shiori, and Hoku are using the mobile phone, and they say the mobile is connected to the school network but has limited access. They also had only one view option, and the place where they sat blocked the signals. Akane says that she's a genius. She set up her code. She says to Shiori that they are closer to their goal, but she's not looking happy. Then she talks about Shin, and Akane says it is Shin's usual MO to manipulate others, but not Shadow. Shiori tells them about the girl named Jun, who can call her boyfriend. Then Hoku asks Shiori. She looks like an honor student, but how did she get there? Akane also wants to learn from the first day she arrived there. Hibiki confesses there, and when she comes out of the place, she thinks that if they learn the truth, then they will hate her. Hyo says on his mobile phone that he will find Shin. After all, he's human. Hibiki and others reach the hideout of Shin. They come inside the room, but Shin is not there. Akane has to find her precious device. Hibiki finds a lot of chocolates in the drawer. Shiori reaches Jun, and she asks if she wants to know how she can use her phone there and how she got there. Shiori remembers her past when her brother was very ill, and her mother attempted suicide, and she wept a lot with her brother. Her brother asked her not to worry because he is a boy, and he will save her and take care of her. An uncle comes there and says he will look after them, and he's their guardian because he's a cousin of their father. Her brother Shu gets sick, and the doctor gives her a heavy amount of his cure. She's very worried, but the uncle asks him not to worry because he will pay all the money. He wants Shiori to repay him. She killed the uncle, and he says she will never see her brother again. Jun says if she wants to hear her brother's voice, she can take her out in 2 days. Moku-chan wakes up and asks Hibiki why he hasn't slept yet. Hibiki asks Moku if he heard anything about Shin when he was in the hole. Hibiki asks how he came out of the tunnel. Moku says he meets a gray-haired guy who is not Shin, and he gives him a map to come out. Moku shared this on the internet, but it's been removed, right? His parents sent him there again because they think he's not cured yet. The next day, all the students in class 4 are standing in line on the ground, and Hibiki motivates them. Then he asks them if the instructor is coming toward them, and the instructor, Hayo, tells them that he is suspending Xian, now that he will take their class for some time. They are shocked to hear that their instructor, Xian, is suspended. Hibiki is thinking about his connection with Shin. What's going on? The suspension of Xian and missing Shin. The instructor tells them to stand straight for 2 hours. The instructor held him. Hibiki says all of them are new and forgive them. Give punishment to him because he's the one who beats you tomorrow. The instructor asks him to come with him. He takes him to the office and asks him to sit down. He says that he's very disloyal and students think of him as their leader. He says he can become the new leader. If he follows him, he will help him out. Hikiki remembers Shin, who tells him to follow his orders so he can climb to the top. Hyo says he wants to meet someone. Shiori is sitting and Hibiki calls her. She is weeping. The instructor tells him she's the president of the student council, whom he defeats. The instructor says no one can defy him. Hibiki laughs and says to the instructor that he is grateful to him. The instructor says he has high hopes for him, and Hibiki says he will try his best to fulfill his expectations. The instructor, Yehuda, lost his mobile phone, and Hibiki found his cell phone in a drawer of Shin. The instructor is very happy and says he did well. He tells Ryo to fix things with Shiori. Hibiki says to leave Shiori with him if they don't close, but they spend a long time with each other. Shin requests that his father let him go to the school where his brother is. He remembers his mother's death, and people laugh at him and say he's the son of a mistress. She tells Shin not to blame his father. He does a lot for them. In the morning, an instructor announces that Hibiki is the new president of the student council and disciple manager. In the office, the instructor asks if Hibiki knows about Shin. Hibiki replies, yes, he knows. The instructor says he's the son of his friend, and he's missing. He wants to give him the mission to find Shin, and Hibiki is very happy but doesn't show up and says he will do it. Then he goes from there, and the instructor talks with the other instructor about him. They also talk about Jun, and the instructor says she's too young to fulfill her mission. Some students are teasing a student, and Hibiki comes there and stops them from doing so. He motivated them and said he never wanted them to join, but they all said they were with him, bro. A news editor receives information about a school of internet addiction, and the students have been abused and are breaking the law. It sounds terrible. Hayo reached a place and said that today was a special delivery, and he would check the packages himself. A girl comes there, and Ryo stops Hyo, who is checking the packages. All the news anchors and reporters come there and say they are smuggling drugs. They asked if all the claims were true, and the headmistress replied to their questions. Shiori is in the hospital, and the other friends are also with her. Hibiki finds Hyo and asks where he's going in such a rush. He tells her that he is going to meet Ryo. Hibiki says he caught Shin, Ryo is with him, and a person named Bon is also there. Hayo gets angered and starts attacking him. He's too fast. Hayo says he did very well, but before he died, he first told him what the heck he did, and then Shion also comes there. Hibiki says he would not let him escape from there, and Cheyenne says police and reporters will come there. The instructor laughs and tells them that they only cut off their cell phones so students can focus on their studies. Then he tells Shion that he believes that the police will come. That's nothing but an internet rumor. There's no way the police will come for them. Shin burned the room and said he was waiting for this moment. Hibiki and Shion look and say, it's burning. It's not in Shin's room. Everyone is looking at the room. Shion says it seems that things will not go the way he wants. Shion says he will never let him until the police come. He tells Hibiki to stand up, and Hibiki is very thankful to the head instructor, Shion. At the end of the episode, Hibiki is standing outside of room 101, and there are a lot of dead bodies and injured people lying down, and a song is played in the background about internet addiction. Hibiki goes to the top where there is a huge blast. Shin is sitting on the top, and they both look at each other. Shin is weeping and remembering the past, and the anime ends there.